Silvio Berlusconi is a man who differs lots of opinion the world over. His political career has left him as a bit of a laughingstock. However, here in Milan, he's seen as the main man behind their past 3 decades of success. Berlusconi was always an entrepreneur, the Milan native making his fortune in the television industry in the 1970s. However, he was always looking to expand his empire in Italy out into the sports world. And it was in February 1986 that the love affair started with his hometown club. He saved them from bankruptcy and started pumping huge amounts of money to take Milan back to where they were in the 60s, and until the day he sold Milan, worked alongside his right-hand man, Adriano Galliani. Now, rich owners in Italian football is nothing new. You had the Agnellis at Juve and the Morattis at Inter. However, their involvement was a lot more discreet. However, Berlusconi was different.
You think about Silvio Berlusconi, the first thing that probably comes to your mind is winning. I mean, he's won so much in his career as a president of AC Milan, and even being an outsider, not being personally a Milan fan, you could still appreciate that in the way that he got so much out of his players. And I think you could really define a president by the way his players talk about that president. And if you've ever read Pirlo's book or heard from other players about what they say about Berlusconi, and you understand that winning comes naturally to him, and he was always ambitious to win even more, especially on a European front, because Milan is the most successful team in Europe as an Italian side. So that's definitely a great thing from Berlusconi, and he gave a lot to not only to Milan, but Serie A fans, because he helped put Milan on the map in that sense.
Now, we started by appointing relatively unknown manager Reggio Sarki at the time, as well as bringing in the Dutch imports of Gullit, Van Basten and Rijkaard to help out the Italians already at the club, including Paolo Maldini, Franco Baresi and Carlo Ancelotti. And it wasn't just on the pitch that things were changing for Milan. All as part of Berlusconi's synergy within his company, there was new advertising, marketing, as well as kit supplies, which all came directly from Berlusconi himself. And you can't knock his knowledge for football either. He said that an eye should be kept on Paolo Maldini, and he expected big things from Costa Curta, both of whom were still playing for Milan 20 years later. Now, success came thick and fast for Milan, winning the Scudetto and the European Cup in 1989, just 6 years after returning to the top flight, and then they retained the European Cup in 1990 in Vienna, still the last club to do so. And this immediate success showed that the Berlusconi era had well and truly begun. From 1992 onwards, they won 3 Scudetti in a row, and they wouldn't have to wait long for another European Cup win, this time in 1994 against Johan Cruyff's dream team, with the likes of Boban and Desailly in the team, replacing the Dutch trio, but with the exact same result, becoming European champions. And it was in the year of his 3rd win on the continental stage that he also won back home, this time the 1994 presidential election. However, he was out by December, but this was the start of a presidential career and political career, which is still sort of going on. And sadly, in Milan's case, things didn't go too well either. In 1996, despite winning the league, the next season was very poor. They finished 11th, and Fabio Capello left. They brought back Sarki, but that didn't work either. And he was no stranger to using his political advantage to give his team an advantage too. He was re-elected in 2001, and in 2003 legislation was brought around which allowed clubs to write off certain debts, something Milan used to the tune of €200 million. However, off-the-pitch drama didn't distract the team, and in 2003 they again won the Champions League, this time against Italian rivals Juventus in Manchester. And 2 years later they were in the final again with the unforgettable loss in Istanbul against Liverpool, a result that you could say Berlusconi wasn't best pleased about. He criticised the players and the manager, later saying, "I was a football coach, I know what I'm talking about." He'd even said previously that with a team like Milan's, even he could coach the team, and whilst many owners do get accused of making tactical decisions for the clubs they own, Berlusconi was almost admitting to it.
Italians are very nosy at times. They like to put their hand in certain things, and especially when things go wrong. I feel like Berlusconi and other Italian owners, they try to touch upon the team just because it's so deep in them. You know, if you're the president of your club and you see something's not working, it's just natural to say that this should work, or you should change this, or play this guy, or don't play this guy. But I think at the end of the day, it really should be the coach. You believe in the coach, and you should do that. Maybe Berlusconi did, maybe he didn't.
And 21 years after buying Milan, Berlusconi won his last European Cup in 2007 with revenge over Liverpool in Athens. And then in 2008, he once again won, this time off the pitch, in the Prime Minister election. But it was from there that the success really started to dry up, with Cafu, Maldini, Inzaghi, amongst others, all leaving the club. The Serie A win in 2011 has been their only win in years, and it was also the same year that Berlusconi finally left office for the last time.
You talk about Cafu, Pirlo, Inzaghi, Maldini, and as players, incredible players. Incredible. Some that we've never seen before. But even above just being a player, the leaders that they are, and maybe not all of them were captains at the same time, but you don't need a captain's armband to be a captain. And I think a lot of those guys were leaders on the pitch, and even silent leaders, something that Milan's really been lacking. That personality and the experience to, even when the team is not doing its best, to keep the guidance. And I think when you say Cafu, you say Maldini, you say Andrea Pirlo, you say Inzaghi, that is what they were, even more than just the unbelievable players. And that's what gave them that extra edge. Because, yeah, they were great players, but as people and as men, they were great, and they gave everything for the Milan shirt. And I think that's extremely vital, and I think it's really lacking at Milan, especially right now.
And it was around this time that new foreign investment was coming into Milan, and the interest for it as well. And this is probably down to the fact that they are a traditional giant in European football, and they just need a little bit of help to get them back to where they belong. And it wouldn't be until August 2016 that a deal was finally reached to end Berlusconi's 30-year stint in Milan. The new owners are the Sino Europe Sport Investment Company, owned by Yong-Hong Lee. And in April 2017, after 31 years at the club, Berlusconi finally sold up after some complications. They won 29 trophies in that time, including 8 Scudetti, 5 European Cups, and countless legends being born. But these are uncertain times for the clubs. With their eccentric old owner now left, no one quite knows what the new Chinese owner plans to do with the club.
I really don't know what to expect by these Chinese investors. I know you want a different answer than I'm trying to say. Milan fans want to believe, and I want to believe too, that these are going to be the right guys who help bring Milan back onto track. And the initial signs, yes, they've been good. I mean, coming in and how long it took to close the deal was a little bit sketchy, of course. But the way that they're starting to get on the transfer market, Musacchio today, making his medical, Kessier Rodriguez might be signing soon, and the players that they're talking about getting. But in the end, it's just talk right now, and I want to see the actions. And I think before saying, oh, what can we expect, let them work hard in silence, let them prove their results, and most of all, I want to see a plan. I don't want to see this BS, Brocchi, Inzaghi, Seedorf, Mihalovic, half season, 3 months, 1 season coaches. I want to see them stick to a plan where they find the guy they believe in, they find some players they believe in, get rid of the dead waste who don't give their all to Milan. Let them build. It's not going to happen next year. Next year, Milan are not going to win the Scudetto. And once they understand that and start building for 2-3 years, then I think that's where you start getting into a really good ownership.
And interestingly, the circumstances around this takeover aren't dissimilar from Berlusconi's in 1986. You've got a failing Milan team with lots of young players such as Donnarumma, Locatelli, amongst others, and they could help take Milan into a new era of success. And the new owners were actually in the dressing room after Milan's final minute heroics against Inter in what was dubbed the first Chinese derby, since both are now owned by Chinese owners. And this could also be seen as them trying to replace the hole that Berlusconi and Galliani left, who are both always around the club in one way or another. And as for the future, well, this is Silvio Berlusconi we're talking about. He's running for the presidential election again this year in 2017, so I have a feeling this won't be the last that we see of him.